So, after downloading some DLC every once in a while, and also have to wait for about 10 or so minutes with that particular update, I think we should now finally dive right into the forms of that particular game as you can see on screen. Hello, what's up everyone? It is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am of course from the likes of the Merxy Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, alongside with the forms of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, we're going to be tackling for the forms of the game that we've technically already done, but this time in gorgeous HD 1080p. Such a nice ending again, especially now this is on 1080p rather than the forms of 480p, so yeah, it just makes everything else a little bit more nicer. And also they managed to include the remix theme from the likes of Reach for the Stars, which I'll discuss on that later. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll present to you our Let's Play of Sonic Colors Ultimate for the PlayStation 4, along with the Xbox One/Series X, along with Series S if you want to count that as a digital download, and especially noticeable with the Nintendo Switch, and along with the forms of PC as well from the Epic Store. So, if you couldn't tell already, that, as you can see on this footage, I'm going to be playing this on the PlayStation 4 version, as you can see, because of the options icon. And as a result, though, this is the only version I haven't actually touched upon yet. So, because obviously I did manage to practice this game loads of times on the Switch, along with the Xbox One versions. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to able to doing this Let's Play for you guys. Now technically, although before we get into this actually, let me just quickly go over to settings quickly, because this is one of those huge emphasis on the fact that I'm actually going to be switching those controls around. For example, the boost/drift, I'm going to be switching over to the square button to, well, I'm obviously going to be going for boost and drift with square, and then slide as in circle, because if you guys remember playing, well, let's just say Sonic Unleashed for the PlayStation 3, along with the forms of Sonic Generations, that's the only control scheme I'm actually really accustomed to, because the problem with circle button as in a boost, well, it might be pretty awkward for me, especially noticeable. Technically it does that on Sonic Unleashed on the PlayStation 2, so I thought I was able to classify for noticing this. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into the forms of Sonic Colors Ultimate for the PS4, and you can also play this on the PlayStation 5 as well, so I'll discuss on that in a moment. So, of course, we're gonna go into a new game right here, so, and if you couldn't tell already, with all these pop-up notifications as you saw from the very beginning of that particular title sequence, as I said before, I actually got some DLC stuff, which I'll talk more about those until whenever we get into the later portions of the game. So, yeah, this is obviously based off from the likes of the remastered game from the likes of the 2010 game originally back in 2010, which is of course Sonic Colors on the Wii. And if I've played the Wii version of Sonic Colors, I absolutely adored the game. Especially noticeable that I was very excited to see the remastered version of Sonic Colors now finally coming onto modern platforms ranging from the PlayStation 4 Xbox One, including the forms of PlayStation 5 for backwards compatibility, along with the forms of, well, Xbox Series X, along with the Nintendo Switch, and PC as well. And from what I've heard, that the PC mods are everywhere for the sake of Sonic Colors Ultimate right now. Specifically, Episode Shadow mod and all the other stuff. And I have to say, that is very, very impressive with certain mods out there. Although, I was expecting to show you guys about these, but you can obviously find those yourself. So, yeah, let's get to it. So, if you couldn't tell already, as I said before, this is obviously a remastered version of Sonic Colors back in 2010, but this is the more recent release of the Sonic game. Although, mind you, for the sake of this year in 2022, we're expecting to be able to get not one, but two Sonic games coming up, which is a compilation game and even a brand new game. Not a, well, a remastered remake or anything, just a brand new game. So, yeah, that I pretty much expected for this point. So, but I digress. So if you guys ever played Sonic Colors before on the Nintendo Wii, you might as well feel right at home for the sake of Sonic Colors Ultimate. Except, the graphics do look a bit more nicer, and I somehow fell off. So, yeah, that was our first step of the playthrough. And also, as you can see, we stumbled across Tails. Okay, so this is kind of strange. So as you can tell, the main emphasis on this game this time around is that, as you can notice, that we don't have ourselves the Sonic head icon, unlike the forms of the original version of the game, because it's been replaced by the forms of a Tails head icon, which means if you fell into a bottomless pit, as you saw right there, you were able to actually realize there was actually a Tails save feature, which it means it actually represents easy mode of any sort, which, although I'll discuss all that until whenever we get into later acts throughout the game. So, oh wow, 2 trophies already, so yeah, that's actually super top notch and everything. So, and of course, like the Wii version of the game, the original version of the game, I should say, the game doesn't start off with the opening intro cutscene before you get into the actual gameplay, so you just immediately go to the gameplay. That's what I really like to see. Especially noticeable, it continues that tradition for the sake of the forms of, well, Sonic Generations, along with, well, not Sonic Lost World or Sonic Forces, because those games immediately starts off with the first intro cutscene, and then basically that you would be able to jump right in. So, yeah, the controls-wise, pretty simple if you get accustomed to it. Like, basically, X button allows you to jump, or the A button on the Xbox One version, or the B button, strangely enough, on the Switch version. But either way, though, that's all I can say about this for the most part here. Depending on what version you'd be playing, obviously, if you couldn't tell, unfortunately, this doesn't run on my 60 frames per second cap on the capture footage. This is mainly because my Rockstar Game Capture HD Pro doesn't allow me to have 60 frames per second. So unfortunately though, no smooth gameplay sadly. But, on the other hand, you can obviously able to see for yourself if you managed able to purchase the PS4 version along with the Xbox One versions, or PS5 or Xbox Series X, what platforms you go for. On the other hand, the Switch version on the other hand is locked to 30 FPS, so that's something worth classifying for noticing this. If you guys have ever seen our unboxing video of that particular game, all 3 versions of the game to be exact, then, you know, you might as well feel right at home, so. Now, as you can see, we actually stumbled across, well, we still got ourselves the red star rings throughout the game, but also we come across into ourselves these very strange objects, which appears to be by the forms of, if I recall correctly, the park tokens, which, where you can use these things. Well, I'll discuss on that in a second, because, well, just like in the original version of the game, after when you beat Act 2 in Tropical Resort, you immediately jump right into the next cutscene here.
He loves to hear his own lips flap, but I gotta hand it to the Eggster. This place is epic. Everyone and their brother is gonna want to come here.
No doubt, but now I'm not sure why we're here. This place looks totally harmless.
Because Eggman plus secretly built amusement park equals evil plot for us to foil. Lucky for us, he's not very good at keeping things hidden.
True, it would be pretty hard to miss a giant floating space amusement park surrounded by planets. still, an evil plot? I don't know.
Wow! Plot or not, you can't be mad at this view. This place has taken beauty to the next level. I'm just surprised that it was so easy to sneak in here.
I wouldn't say it was that easy.
Hello, happy people. Buckle up as Eggman's ultra-accelerating space elevator whisks you to an interplanetary wonderland of fun.
I can't believe somebody was dumb enough to leave the keys in this thing. It's like Eggman's begging us to sneak in and trash the place.
Oh man, this thing's got crazy fast acceleration.
You call this fast?
This amusement park has been constructed entirely out of a sense of remorse for my past transgressions, and is in no way associated with any sort of evil plot or premeditated misdeeds.
Well, that's a relief.
Just thinking about it makes my head feel like it wants to.
Your voice chip is stuck on Cowboy again. Stop talking and net those aliens.
Come on here, you little varmints. Come back here. I'm gonna get you. Hey, come here.
I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm sure of what I'm gonna do. Hey, what's going on? Huh? Whoa!
Something worth noting for is the fact that for those of you who have ever played Super Mario Sunshine on the likes of Super Mario 3D All-Stars compilation game on the Switch, yeah, sadly, the cutscenes doesn't go fully remake or anything else to be more specific. It's usually upscaled to 1080p, and basically none of the graphics are changed from the likes of the cutscenes of the game. So, yeah, it's kind of similar to the forms of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, where basically every single cinematic scenes is unchanged. So, yeah, no graphical updates or anything. Just upscaled to 1080p, and that's pretty much about it. So, anyways, let's move on to Act 3, and basically, as you can see, that much like the original version of the game, basically we're able to come across into familiar wisps if those of you ever played the original version before. Like, basically, the first one we'll stumble across is the forms of the laser wisp, and basically this allows you to able to become laser, and you can able to actually change which specific directions you want to aim. And also on top of that, we still have ourselves the white wisps, which if you manage to able to stumble across to those, basically this will give you a boost, and that's pretty much about it. And there's also a new kind of wisp that we might actually discover through whenever we get into Act 5, because, well, we'll point it out whenever we get into it, so. And obviously, if you couldn't tell about the fact that these little button icons are somewhat, for some reason, are in blue, because I was expecting they were able to have a similar visual treatment for the sake of, like, Sonic Unleashed, or, well, specifically Sonic Generations or Sonic Forces and stuff like that, that basically that gives, like, a very cool, you know, proper colored button icons, but apparently that in a remastered version of Sonic Colors in Sonic Colors Ultimate, that's basically every single button icons is somewhat blue with white outlines. So, bit strange, but I'm more used to it. So anyway, about what the forms of power effect, as you noticed on that previous cutscene that we saw. Now, unlike the forms of the original Wii version of the game, that after that scene is finished, you were able to actually create your file. Well, in the forms of in this version in particular this time around, well, you no longer have the file selection screen, just like in the forms of how it does it on the forms of, well, Sonic Unleashed on the PlayStation 3, along with the Xbox 360 versions, along with the forms of Sonic Generations, and also Sonic Lost World, and even Sonic Forces. So yeah, these are the, well, I don't know what to say for this point really, because it has been quite a while since I actually done some of my recording sessions, because after all, recently Ray is doing Mario Party 7, and recently yesterday that Mexi is going to be tackling through Super Mario 3D All-Stars, starting with Super Mario 64 of course. Even though, mind you, technically we've already done those games in the past. Now, the reason why we have to do this game again, well, technically speaking, that we technically already did done Sonic Colors already on the Wii. But it turns out about the fact that, well, the views count is pretty good. However, though, I feel like just for fun, just trying to able to show you guys the 1080p version of this Let's Play for Sonic Colors itself. So just in case you can able to actually see some slight differences than the forms of how it does in the original Wii version of the game. You know, kind of like how it did where we actually did done our Let's Plays of, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U back in the day. But then we show you guys New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe later during that time. And same applies to Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, and later on we show off the Switch version as well, along with the additional side mode, which is of course Bowser's Fury. So we figure we might as well able to do the same thing for Sonic Colors and Sonic Colors Ultimate right here. So yeah, that's how it goes basically. So now let's move on to Act 4. Now some of these acts might actually be slightly short. Well, depending on how fast you are. So because of that though, structurally speaking, it feels exactly like the forms of the original version of the game, except the fact that the noticeable difference now, that basically that you now have a tail save feature. And by the way, with the tail save feature alone, you cannot able to actually disable it. It stays with you, which it might actually ruin a challenge for most players, especially noticeable because if you're used to with the original Wii version of the game after all. And I just managed to beat this level for about, I would say under, so close for under 20 seconds. But that's okay, because obviously we actually did pretty well for the most part for the sake of this particular version of the game. So, yeah, that's Act 4. And I believe we're able to get to the next cutscene where Tails is going to use the translator.
Now, let me see. Gotta connect the framostatic capacitor to the maximizing modulationizer. I wish I knew what you were saying, little guy. Or gal. Or whatever you are.
Oh man, that was crazy!
Oh, I was reconfiguring my handheld into a translator so I can understand this guy. Did you go somewhere?
Didn't you see? I absorbed those aliens and got powered up with, like, some kind of wild energy. And after a few seconds, they'd pop out of me.
I find that hard to believe.
Huh? Okay, seriously? We need to find Eggman and figure out how catching these aliens fits into whatever heinous plan he's hatching.
And wreck that plan, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how we spend our time.
Even though the actual voice actors are pretty much exactly the same, because obviously this is based off from the 2010 game, so yeah, nothing different from there either. So, and also every time whenever you, I don't like the fact that usually that particular pop-up thing, whenever when Sonic finished the stage or exit the stage or something like that, it just feels a bit bizarre whenever you're able to see that right there. So anyways, let's move on to Tropical Resort Act 5, and now, if you couldn't tell already, that as I said this before, we might able to stumble across ourselves the new Wisp. Well, technically, if you guys ever played Team Sonic Racing before, on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, or PC, you might be familiar with that particular new type of Wisp that you might able to stumble across into. Although I'll get to more now in a moment, because, well, if you couldn't tell already, that certain acts does manage to able to still retain the original music, and on top of that, we're able to stumble across the forms of new remix music, so that's something worth classifying for noticing another huge difference between the original version of the game than the likes of the remaster, so yeah, I guess that's pretty much about that. So as you can see on screen, we stumbled across the Jade Ghost Wisp. And basically, this allows you to able to actually teleport to different spots of these certain levels, as you can see on screen, by simply able to actually let the actual lock-on cursor activate, and then when you've done so already, then you would able to teleport into different places worth noting for. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting Wisp in Fury, especially noticeable if you ever played Team Sonic Racing before. Then, you know, you're obviously now going to be able to actually use the whips in the actual platformer. So, yeah, that's that. So, although sometimes I will have to admit the right away is that not the actual Wisp itself can be perfect by any means, because there are a few times that, if we get into the forms of Sweet Mountain Zone, although we'll get some more details about that in a moment, so, and as you can tell, that certain red rings are now placed in a different locations. Like, take this part for instance. That normally, that you were able to get the red star ring from that specific spot in the original version of the game, well now you need to get that another red star ring from the likes of using the Jade Ghost Wisp. So, that's something worth classifying for noticing the another huge difference between the original version of the game than the forms of the HD remaster basically. So, as you can see, I've got my first ever S rank, so top notch for that. Especially noticeable, you have to still need to collect a lot of rings, and you have to, like, you know, just trying to collect some more of those red star rings as much as you can, and eventually just be fast on certain levels, so you're able to actually get yourself some good time bonuses here and there, and not to mention you can't afford to get hit. So, and as you can see, we can now able to actually use the Jade Ghost Wisp in any level. So, and also, every once in a while, if you do manage to collect about, let's just say, roughly 15 red star rings per zone, as you can see, we actually stumbled across Metal Sonic. Huh, that's interesting. Although, that you would able to challenge him into the rival race, which I'll show this off later, not now though, because obviously we need to take care of other traditional things first, before we get into the forms of the rival races, basically. So, although you will get something pretty rewarding, even though despite it might actually be just cosmetics and all that stuff, although nothing really substantial when if you're trying to able to come across into that specific rewards you can get. So, and yeah, with those park tokens, as you can see, what you can use these things is by the fact that you can able to actually spend you know, spend on, you know, cosmetic costumes or outfit, well, not necessarily outfits, but just customization, because basically the park tokens are basically currency in this game. Now, they appeared everywhere in this particular game, and especially noticeable, they obviously respawned every single time if you're trying to able to collect even more park tokens, which, I'll show this off briefly until the next video. Although not now though, because as you can see, we immediately almost at the very end of Act 6, which is basically entirely in 2D and stuff like that. So, either way though, that's pretty much as far as I can say about this for the most part, so. But yeah, that's as far as I can try to mention about more details about Sonic Colors Ultimate, apart from the fact that, well, it's basically the exact same game as the original version, except, well, the quality itself looks much nicer now. And also that, sometimes I will have to admit though right away, I'm not a big fan of the loading screens, by the way, in this HD remastered version of the game. Because even though, unlike the original Wii version of the game, that it loads really dang well, although, don't ever play the Switch version because the loading times are awful, just because, well, I'll get some more details about that. And so what if we get into the next video, because, as you can tell, we're now going to be able to stumble across into the first boss fight in a game, so you guys should know what the first boss is.
23, 24, 25... Ah! Not nearly enough aliens!
Want us to get more?
No, I want you to get me a cheeseburger and a shake.
That'll be easier. Cheeseburgers don't run as fast as them little alien varmints.
Idiot, get me more aliens.
Y'all want fries with that? I reckon that hurt a bit. Wait a minute, I need to go over yonder. Sorry.
Precious little aliens. I'll harness their hyper-go-on power, and then nothing will stop me. I know I say that every time, but this time, really, nothing will stop me.
Boss?
What? Sonic!
Who you calling nothing?
Huh? He means since the boss said nothing will stop me, and Sonic here is going to stop him, it's like the boss was calling Sonic nothing.
Great! I thought nobody would get that.
Fine. You're so smart, robot. You take care of this mess. Release the big boy. At least I know he won't screw it up. Hasta la bye-bye, suckers!
Wait for me.
Guess it's time for me to start stopping.
I get it.
So yeah, so let's get to it with the first boss fight, and basically it's pretty simple. Although, if you ever played the PS4 version or the Xbox One versions, and the Switch version as well, and even the PC version as well, you do get the selections of these achievements. Like, for example, if you try to use the laser onto this first boss here, rotation, I think that's what the boss itself is called anyway, and basically all you have to do is basically you have to hit him for about, well, lesser than 3 hits. So as you can tell, though, we hit him for about 2 hits. So, well, not every single boss fight can you be to utilize, you know, just trying to able to destroy the actual boss within like 2 hits or less, mind you. Because whenever we get into Starlight Carnival along with Asteroid Coaster, that's going to be one of those examples. So, anyway, so we did manage to defeat the first boss already. So, yeah, it's super duper fast and quick. Because obviously I'm usually going to go after several of those trophies throughout the majority of the playthrough. Not all of them, mind you.
Just tighten this last bolt. Oh, there you are. Where'd you run off to?
I did a little shopping, grabbed a bite to eat, and trashed a giant killer robot.
Oh, really? And they've got shopping here, too?
This place has everything. Hey, so how's your translator thingy coming along?
I think it's done. It's in binary code, so only I can read it. Okay, ask away.
Who are you, and what is happening to your people?
Okay, he says his name is Talks a Lot, and he's from a faraway soda, and where flowers water them with dances.
Yeah, I think your machine still has some bugs.
Yeah, I think I can figure this out, though. Okay, he said his name is Yacker. He's from a race of beings called Wisps.
Wisps?
No, Wisps, with a W.
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, sure. So anyway, they're either being used for their magical powers by an evil man, or to make underwear to be worn by Sally. I just hear save them, over and over.
When I was running around trashing robots, I saw a map that had a couple of interesting places. I think I'll go check them out, and maybe save some aliens.
The boss man said to wrangle every piece of this mess. When you consider what we're doing from a robot's point of view, it's actually pretty gruesome.
Don't think about it.
If you say so.
I'm missing an arm. Have you got an arm?
No, but really, how much can it matter?
I guess it can't matter much.
So with that, although we will be back for Tropical Resort until at some point later down the road, because obviously I'll get to more details about this until the next video. So speaking of such, we're able to actually finally manage to unlock not 1 but 2 zones, which are Sweet Mountain along with Starlight Carnival. So I think we might as well do something a bit differently than the Wii version of the playthrough. That next time of more of Let's Play of Sonic Colors Ultimate, I think we should probably take care of Starlight Carnival next, because, well, we would like to do it traditional way, but I'd like to do it differently. It's just what I classify for nosiness. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you on Thursday. Later, fellas.